Hi guys, I am going to quickly go through this PowerPoint. I just want you to be really educated as to the level of work that is expected for this class and for your AP when you turn it in. So I looked at a bunch of samples and just kind of put this together. I think if you go through and look at all those portfolio examples, you can see what you need to do. But here we go. The sustained investigation. You have 4 sections, A, B, C, and D. 60% of your grade comes from these 4 things, 1 being the lowest and 3 being the highest. So here are some examples of those sections and what the 3D work looks like. Part A, the A of the ABCD, is the writing of your inquiry. So you guys have done that, but some of you guys need to revisit it, read a couple of really good ones, and then ask yourself, do I need to change this? This is one example of a well-written inquiry, yet at the same time, the judges did not score this portfolio. It was a bunch of cloth, frogs and animals. They were a bunch of animals with different materials, and they saw no correlation with the materials. So the materials did not score well, but their inquiry was a good inquiry statement. So they scored a 3 on that. So just because you have all these other areas, you got to make sure your inquiry, which is part A, is written very well. Here is a poor inquiry. If you read it, it's a score of a 1, which is your lowest. You can see their work also is not very exciting. It's not very mature, but it doesn't even have an inquiry. It's talking about anxiety and how going on the wheel makes them feel better. There's nothing they're developing or exploring or anything like that, and the judge's response is below. So the evidence does not identify inquiry. It's just about your work on the wheel. There's no attempt to consider surface or progression. They saw nothing in here, so they scored really poorly. They got a 1. Another poorly written one, this one was about self-identity and their journey through high school, and they gave it a low score because it did not connect to their investigation. It didn't clearly show what they were talking about in their inquiry. I think it was supposed to be shoulders with different heads on it, but they did not see the connection, so that also scored a 1. Part B. So part B is practice, experimentation, and revision. A lot of you guys are doing great on this. You guys have shown your stuff and you have the material, but what's really important is that all of the slides you're going to create all point towards one exploration that you're doing. They should be able to look at all of these process slides and go, wow, they're all connected to that inquiry. I totally see it. I totally see that they're sticking with their thing. They're all around the same thing. This person's dealing with light and shadows, and they're creating all these cool things to make this shadow thing. Like what will make a shadow of this? What will make a shadow of that? They also have written information on there, so you can write on your slides as well. But they did a score of 3, which is the highest. Here is a bad one, process and exploration, part B. There's just hardly any visual evidence, and I think it's self-evident. I don't have to say much about this one. Part C is materials, processes, and ideas. So do your materials actually relate to, the synthesis of your idea? So this one is a great example. This person is talking about, on the left here is their inquiry. It's about skin fascinates me. What makes it so perfect or imperfect? So they're all about skin and flexibility of it, and so they use all these materials that are like skin-like, and they really love that they even used like some kind of collagen in their thing, which is actually related to skin. So skin products and stuff like that, and they all did this whole thing on skin and the materials. So they love this one, score of a 3. Here is how the materials do not connect. This is the same one I showed you before where they love the inquiry, but they did not like the way the materials were used. So this person just did animals, and they did them in like different things. So here's a frog made out of cloth, here's a bear made out of cloth, here's a turtle made out of glass, here's this, and they just really did not show the connection to the inquiry. They said in their statement, hey, if you are going to use this wool from a lamb, that would have made a connection to the animal and the humans dealing with animals and how it affects them. But they saw no correlation between the materials. They just saw cute animals made out of different things. So beware of that. Part D, the last part, is really all about your skills and the level of your work. So at this point in the game, a lot of you guys that I have had in ceramics are super skilled in ceramics, but yet maybe you're not doing all ceramics, but you should highlight your skills in that area. So, they'll say particularly, this is a excellent example of a 3. This portfolio, all done in ceramics, was a score of a 5 for the overall. Oh, they did have, up in the upper left, they did have Q-tips up there. So they did explore some other materials, which I think is good. But they definitely showed that they know how to do ceramics. They understand things. They have a high level of detail and skill. Everything's refined. They show their process. So awesome work there. Here is a poor. This is a score of a 1 for their portfolio. And you can see that the person really tried. They got information. They did stuff, but it looks like a cutesy little craft project that is made at a young age. So it doesn't have the complexity. It doesn't have the sophistication that they're looking for. So beware of that. After those A, B, C, and D, you guys are also going to have 40% of your score is selected works. And that is just really just the end products. Do you have 5 selected works that show a high level of skills and sophistication and your mastery of the materials? So here they are, some really good 5s, and you can see the craftsmanship and the complexity of the work. And then lastly, here is a 1 that shows not very talented in that material, not very, showing this high refinement and understanding of the material. Even the pictures and stuff like that aren't good. So based on what I've shown you, I want you guys looking at your work and giving yourself some evaluation on how you're doing on this next assignment and what your scores would be, 1 through 3 on these given categories. Thanks for listening.